because you really don't know what people have done in the past. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what their motives are for talking to you. And it's easy for people to disguise something as something that it's not. It's easy for somebody to come into your life and pretend that they rock with you and pretend that they want the best for you. And so a lot of times it's not the case. And we can be confused by circumstances or by emotion into thinking that these people that we just met have our best interests. Solid but Daily Podcast, episode 9. Right here, right now, we're coming from a different location than I'm usually at the crib, down where I'm studying, where I'm doing my school right now. Right now, I'm at my mom's house where I grew up for the most part. So this is just a little bedroom edition of the Silent but Deadly Podcast. Before I get started on the subject matter of the episode, I would like to thank everybody that's been watching the channel, that's been enjoying the content, leaving comments, leaving likes. Uh, it's been putting some fuel in my fire, and I like to say thank you to everybody that's watching and that's supporting. And I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going strong. I'm gonna keep coming with these good topics. I'm gonna keep coming with these good episodes, and we're just gonna keep moving up. It's only one way up from here. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but I now have a logo, the Silent but Deadly logo. I also have changed the banner. So just little things here and there. I told y'all as we go on this journey, we're going to keep getting better. We're going to keep moving up. And that's what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. And so I want to say thank y'all. But as you could tell by the title today, it's a little bit of a special episode. It's a Christmas episode. So before I begin, I like to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. Hope everybody out there can do the best they can to enjoy the holidays, enjoy the time off or the time on, and just relax or keep working. Just keep your heads in the right place in this holiday season. But on this special Christmas episode of the Silent but Deadly podcast, we're gonna be talking about family and friends and keeping the family close. And I think this is a very important topic because we're all humans, and as humans, we're social creatures. So the people we keep around us and the type of social interactions we have is gonna shape us. It's gonna shape our mind. It's gonna shape the way we think about things, the things we do, the habits we have, the places we convene, the things we eat, the things we say, the things we think, just everything. And I think the importance of uh, monitoring the company you keep and analyzing who's in your life is very important because if you don't do that work to vet the people that you spend the most time with and the people that's on your team, basically, if you don't spend the time and the mental energy to vet these type of people, then you can put yourself in a position where you're wasting a lot of time because the people that are around you don't have the same vision as you or the same worldview, or maybe in the previous times you guys had the same worldview or the same drive, the same goals, but now you're in a transition period in your life, so it's time to change the people around you. And it's very important because a lot of times we grow up with people or we are in contact with people in certain periods in our life, and if we're not careful, bringing some people into new periods of our life, they can hold us down. And that's why I think communication is important, and understanding where you want to go is important because if you can't align yourself with people that are going to help you on your goals, then ultimately it's just going to hinder the process. It's going to slow you down. Um, and so if we look at the example of when we're youth and when we're kids, a lot of us are, a lot, and not, if not most of us, are put into schools and are put into places where, of course, we have social interactions. But as a kid, kids just want to play and kids just want to have a good time, and kids don't really have the most responsibilities. So when you're in the stage from child to juvenile, this is a period where your friends are important, but they're not as important as when you're transitioning into adulthood. And I believe your friends are important when you're a child because just like how somebody can influence you as an adult, somebody can just as easily influence you as a child. And uh, as we age, we become more smart and we learn social interactions more. But even as a kid, if you don't have the idea of about manipulation, and if a kid might not purposely be trying to manipulate you, consciously or subconsciously be trying to manipulate you, but just the way that they were raised and the circumstances that they came from can affect you and have a negative impact. Well, not a negative impact, but it'll just change the way you think. So, like, if we take a real bare and a simple example, if you have a kid who's homeschooled his whole life and he's only known what his parents told him and he's not on social media or whatever, he's only gonna know what he's been exposed to. And so, if you have a kid and you put him in school and he has a crazy classmate or she has a crazy classmate and makes a friend with somebody who grew up differently, then that's going to expose them to new ideas and ultimately is going to change who they are in more ways than one. Excuse me. And so, for me, in my example, I remember when I was coming up, I moved around a little bit, as I talked about in previous episodes. Maybe the first episode or the third episode or the fourth episode, can't remember. But I moved around a lot in my life. Was born in Cali, moved to Atlanta, and then I grew up in Illinois. But I was also moving around in different schools in Illinois. But one thing that remained constant was my mom didn't uh, like me hanging out with people. I couldn't have no play dates with people if she didn't know the parents, if she didn't know what was going on, and especially I couldn't sleep over at nobody's house like at all. That's a little bit unrelated, but to the point that I couldn't. She wasn't comfortable sending me with people that she didn't know is because she raised me with certain morals and certain values and a certain worldview, and me spending my impressionable mind spending time in these different places might have had a negative impact on me. So that's why it's important as children that you're around the right influences and the right people. But as we grow up and we start to make our own decisions and have our own responsibilities, it becomes even more important because we don't always have a person to vet out the people that's around us. So we have to vet out the people around us with our criteria and with our well, what we see and what we believe in our morals and values. And if we look at the span of a lifetime, let's just say going from school to um, middle school to high school to college, these are going to be different transition periods, and you're constantly changing and constantly learning new things and coming intact with new people. And every person that you meet is going to give you something different. And so I'll talk from the example of my point of view. Um, in middle school, I went to a small school, so I had a close group of friends, a tight knit group of friends, and that kind of carried on to high school because I really didn't wasn't really focused on trying to make new friends and find new people. And especially in college, I told myself it's not my mission to come out here and find new friends, no matter what people may say about like networking or having having a network or like a different like a like a database of people that you can access to help you for different things. And I'm just not with it because I understand, for one, my type of personality and just the way I live and the way I think, that I can't really just trust people and spend my time with people that I don't know. One, it's not really a conscious decision because I generally just don't like it. I'd rather be myself. That's just me personally. But two, you really don't, especially in college, you really don't know what people have done in the past. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what their motives are for talking to you, and it's easy for people to disguise something as something that it's not. It's easy for somebody to come into your life and pretend that they rock with you and pretend that they want the best for you, and so a lot of times it's not the case, and we can be confused by circumstances or by emotion into thinking that these people that we just met have our best interests. And speaking of best interests, I think that's a perfect transition into the definition of family and the importance of family and keeping the family close, because in this life, nobody can choose their family. Everybody is born into a family. And so I'll be remiss to mention the people that are in families where the family is like messed up and the parents may not really care about the kids, or it's just not a lot of peace in the household. So I would be remiss not to mention the people whose family is not really their family. And so sometimes people's family is the people that they work with, or the people that they train with, or just different people, maybe a church family. And so when I say family, when I say keep the family close versus keep your family close, you got to keep the family close because it's the family. That's your family, but it doesn't have to be related to by blood. And so my definition, or definition that I'll use for this video of family, is the people that have your best interest. And for me personally in my life, the people that have my best interest is thankfully my real family. Thankfully my brother, my mom, my dad, um, my grandmother, just all the people around me, my close family. I know that these people have my best interest. I know that these people are gonna love me conditionally, and they just want to see me do the best I can, and they want the best for me, and that's great. I appreciate it. I'm very thankful for that. But everybody doesn't have families um, where that's the case, because a family is just a group of people, and people are just growing up and trying to learn everything for themselves. So you might be in a situation where you have a broken family because you have broken people in the family. So if you have two broken people getting together and having kids, it's not going to turn into something good if the people don't address the problems that they have already. And um, I think this is why it's important to focus on ourselves and be the best versions of ourselves if we're looking to have a family, because you can't really take care of a family unless you take care of yourself. And so when you have a good structure of a family, and when you keep the family close, and you don't, because especially as youth or even as adults, oh, I remember the point I was going to say I think the family structure is going to be attacked, and it's getting worse because more and more people are broken, more and more people are mentally unstable and emotionally unstable. And right now, especially in the generation, especially in my generation, there's such a division between males and females, at least on the internet. It's probably the case in real life too, but at least on the internet, it's such a division of males and females that in the future, it's going to be so hard to have like a stable family that's actually has like traditional morals and values. It's going to be this new generation and this new age is going to come with new values and new morals, and it's going to change the way families look and operate, which is something I argue is going to be detrimental for society, because as social creatures, if we don't have a good, solid group of people that we can rely on, and that we can draw inspiration from, and that we can fall on if things go bad or things like that, if we don't have that, then we're kind of in this world just living aimlessly. And even like introverts, as much as people want to admit it or not, I think most people need people around them to maintain their sanity and to maintain their happiness, even if it's not like around family all the time or talking to people every day, all day. You got to have some type of way to uh, talk to people and interact socially. And I even think there's brain chemicals that light us up and make us feel good when we talk to people, especially when we have fruitful conversations that are about something. Even just saying your good mornings and your like your goodbyes, just greeting people when you see them out in the world. Like in my building back at home, back where I live, it's a room keeper, or she's a cleaner, a housekeeper. She doesn't clean my house, but she cleans the building. And I always say good morning. I always say how you doing, and we always just chat. And uh, she's Hispanic, so English is not her first language, but it's all love. I don't know her, but we'd always talk. We always smile, and it feels good. It feels good to talk to people. And just kind of going off the subject of family, but I think that's lost in this generation, especially because a lot of people don't even talk to each other when they see each other. There's no nothing cordial, no goodbyes or highs. A lot of stuff is in the digital world, and I remember, like even me coming up, being born into this digital generation. Um, like a lot of our conversation, a large percentage of our conversation is on the internet, and so we lose those communication skills. And talking on the internet and talking in real life is two different things. It's not even the same thing at all. It's confused as the same thing. It's confused as communication that's equal, but it's not the same thing at all. And if you take some time to think about the way people communicate and on in real life and the way people communicate on social media, then you could realize in so many ways they're different. Like the body language, eye contact, nonverbal cues, like all this stuff is absent over text, and it's really just not an effective way to communicate at all, in my opinion. And I don't really know if that's my opinion. I think that's more of a fact. More of a fact. So going back to the topic of keeping up, and if y'all are wondering what I'm looking at, I just got a few notes. I'm not really looking at them, but just seeing if I'm going off the hazy. I'm going extemporaneously, but going back to family and friends, this is why it's very important to have family, important to have family, because in my case, family is somebody that I know I can talk to, somebody I can be honest with, and they're gonna tell me how they really feel, but in the direction of me being great. Like they're gonna try to tell me something that's gonna lead me into a direction that's gonna be safe for me and going to ultimately better me. And I want to get on the point talking about how sometimes as youth, when we're coming up, there's a lot of times where we have to listen to our family, and our family will tell us things that we don't want to hear, that we don't want to do, but it's the right thing for us in the right situation. But there's other times where our family just wants the best for us, and they want us to take the safe route, and they want us to be secure. But sometimes we might have a different vision, and we might have different things we want to do that they might not understand. And so it's a balance between taking the advice of your family versus going with your gut and taking the risk, and hopefully and just hope that it pays off and that they understand in the future. Ask for forgiveness instead of permission. It's so talking about family. It's important. It's important. It's important that we keep the family close, and so when you do have to make those decisions, where if you're gonna listen to your family or go with your gut, a lot of times we're in situations where we don't know what to do, and a lot of times we think we might know. So I'm talking about youth. I'm talking about people that's still coming up. I'm talking about me. Especially, we may think we know what to do, but a lot of times our family will tell us what to do, and it'll materialize later that they were right. And so a lot of times you gotta listen to your family, and this is why it's important to have family, real people that want your best interest, because 9 times out of 10 what they're telling you is just gonna help you get better. And so speaking about friends and speaking about the opposite of people that want your best interest and people that may want their best interest and disguise it as something else, we can't have people that are parasites around us. And this term parasites is something that I got from one of my people I draw inspiration from on YouTube, by the channel name of Traveling on a Budget. He went through a few channels, or you can find him by Mark the Mentor, but he used to explain this concept of parasites, just talking about how there's people, it all came from this. Well, parasites in general are just things that are living organisms that get their resources by stealing and being off the back of other living organisms. And there was a movie called Parasite, made by, it was either Chinese or Korean film producers. About, you guys should watch the movie. I'm not gonna spoil it, but just about people taking advantage of other people basically, and disguising themselves as the help, but at the same time, like draining all the life out of them and taking their resources, and just ultimate manipulation. And so in your life, you have to be mindful of people that are just gonna suck your energy and try to ride your wave and float your boat. And these are fake friends. And a lot of times, your fake friends are friends that you had that you may think that they're real friends. But as I was talking to you earlier in the video, there's periods of time and there's seasons for everything. There's seasons where you don't have to be focused. There's seasons where you can just play and just have fun. And sometimes these are friends these are the reasons we have friends. Some friends are just here because we have a certain thing in mind. We have a certain thing in common. Like, say, if you like to party and you don't party by yourself, you're gonna need associates and friends to go with you. And so, let's say if you transition into a different period of your life where you need to lock in and focus, and you can't party, you're not gonna be able to keep those same people around you because they're gonna keep dragging you into what you don't want to do. And that's why it's very, very important to be mindful of your friends, especially be mindful of your friends in line with your goals, because there's a saying that you're a reflection of the company you keep. You are the company that you keep. And for me right now, I'm gonna be happy when I can find people in my life that has similar goals to me, and we have similar missions, and I could talk to them, and but it's gonna be like iron sharpening iron. And I think that's very important, because just as bad as a bad friend can pull you down, a good friend can elevate you. Next week, I'm going to talk about relationships, and it's the same thing for relationships. Just like how a bad partner, and I guess relationships kind of ties into family and friends and keeping the family close, but just as how a bad partner can pull you down to the bottom, having a good friend can pull you up to the top. And it's just like that. Iron sharpens iron, and you are a reflection of the company you keep. The team is a reflection of the weakest link. So if you were trying to get this level, if you used to be down here with your friends, and now you're at this level, but you can't seem to crack the threshold, sometimes you're gonna have to shed your old friends to keep moving up. And when I say shed your own friends, it's not like turning your back to anybody and cutting them off, but sometimes you got to keep your distance. And if you really want to be a mature individual, you got to communicate with people, especially people if you love them. You got to tell them, like, I'm not doing certain things right now, and if you're gonna be around me trying to get me to do those certain things, then I'm gonna have to keep my distance. I'm gonna have to love you from a distance. But if you could tell you have a real friend if they want to help you, and if they understand what you're coming from, and they let you grow. But if you have people and you tell them that you want to elevate your life and you got to stop doing certain things, then and they get mad at you, or they don't want you to do that, then that's a fake friend, and that's a parasite. And sometimes you got to do the uncomfortable thing, cut them off. And it's hard to cut off people because you got good memories with people, and you got experience with people, you got love people, you got loyalty. But sometimes you got to get selfish to reach your goals, and really it's not selfish. It's selfish for the other person to try to hold you back from being great when you trying to do something hard and you trying to choose discipline over pleasure, like the last episode. But I think it's really a great thing if you could find a group of people, or two people, or a person that's gonna sharpen your iron and keep you on your P's, and keep you on your pivot. And like they say, like a lot of rich people, a lot of millionaires and billionaires say, the company they keep is all better than them. It's all people that they learn from. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because if you're constantly learning from somebody and you constantly building on what you already have, you're just taking yourself to the next level. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do in this life. I don't know about y'all. I'm sure people watching this content is trying to learn something and get something. But if you're trying to get better, you gotta get better. You gotta get the company around you better, and it's very important. One extra thing I want to say, since we're talking about friends and family, and this might be and the company that you keep, this probably be an episode that I return to in the future. Family and certain people that have love for you will put you in positions that you might not have been in, that you couldn't have got in by yourself. Um, a lot of this country is ran by family, whether you may know it or not. It's ran by bloodlines, and there's a thing called nepotism. And nepotism is when you are basically locked in, or you can get in different positions just because of your family. And I'm sure you guys, if you think about it, could think of how family and having people in higher places that got love for you can help you. And so that's just a little sprinkle I want to throw in on this episode. Just thinking about how family gets people in certain positions. I was just listening to Joe Rogan podcast, and he was just with Steve Rinella, and Steve Rinella gave a story about how they were talking about police brutality and people's different experiences with police. And Steve Rinella was talking about how like in his younger days, he got arrested for like drunk driving and then like resisting arrest. but he didn't spend any time in jail because his father made calls in the church and they got him out of jail and he got to clean his record up. But people that didn't have any family that was living in this life alone might not have had that same opportunity. They probably would have went to jail and suffered the consequences. And so if you have a family and they want the best for you, even if they tell you things you might not want to hear, and some of the things they do and say might remind you of a different period in your life that you might not be might not be the proudest of, and they might do things to get under your skin just because they can. If these are people that love you and people that you know have your best interests in you, then you gotta build these relationships, and you gotta really you really gotta care for these people, and you gotta love for these people. You can't put them off to the side just because you're in a different period of your life and because you have different friends. Because and sometimes it's hard. It's hard to talk to people on a level because I was listening to a Jordan Peterson book, his new book called Beyond Order, and he was talking about how it's difficult to transfer information up or down a hierarchy, but the best way to transfer information is on the same hierarchy. So if you don't understand what that means, it's going to be hard for, if we look at an example of a workplace, it's going to be hard for the normal workers to transfer things to the boss, or for if a worker has subordinates, it's going to be hard for the normal worker to transfer information to their subordinates, but their coworkers is going to be the easiest way to transfer information to. And that's the same way with families. If you are a young kid and your mom or your dad or whoever was at the top of the hierarchy when you were a kid, the communication is different, and just everything is different. But as you're in a transition period where you're coming into your own and you're starting to move into that hierarchy equal level where everybody's an adult and doing their own thing, that's where information will be disseminated more efficiently. And so as a as a say a college student, you're doing, or as somebody that's coming up as a young adult, you're trying to figure out how to communicate with the people above the hierarchy, while you're in that transition period from going from, say, a boy to a man or from a girl to a woman. And so this is why you just have to be patient with the people that you love, and you have to be patient with your family as you're coming up, because as they get to see you growing and as they see you get to accumulating resources, which is essential, because if you don't have resources to take care of yourself, then you're still going to stay on that same part of the hierarchy, whether you think that you're higher or not. If you don't have the resources to provide for yourself, then you haven't effectively moved up that hierarchy. But when we're coming up, we have to be patient with our family, because even though they may do things that we don't like and do things that um, may rub us the wrong way, these are the people that are on your team. And although it may be easier to communicate with, like, say, a peer that you just may have met, and all your peers are not always the best for you, and they haven't lived the same experiences, and they probably don't know you as well as your family. So this is why it's very important. It's very important to monitor the company that you keep. It's not easy. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I'm telling you, if you find people that can help you on the journey, if you find people that got love for you, you have to build and nourish those relationships. And if there's people that are just only taking from you and not giving, and it's not a group working together, then these are people that you gotta keep your distance from and try to be the example for, and show that there's more things to life than like the old self and the old things that you used to do. There's more things to life than pleasure. There's more things to life than pleasure. There's much reward for discipline, just like my last episode. Um, but I think that's a good episode about keep monitoring the company that you keep. I would like to thank y'all for watching the Silent But Deadly show today. If you got to the end, please show some love, show support. Let me know what you think. If you agree, you disagree, I'll get back to you in the comments. But I want to say thank you all for your support. I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I didn't feel motivated to do the podcast today, because I'm not in the right setting. But I had to push, and the support that y'all give me, and just the life that y'all breathe into the channel, it helps me keep going, and I'm gonna keep getting better, and I'm gonna keep coming for y'all, and keep coming hard for y'all, keep coming strong, and I'm gonna keep pushing these episodes. So Next week I'm gonna talk about relationships. I think it's gonna be a good episode. I might try to stretch it out. That's gonna be a topic that I think I'm gonna enjoy. Um, but no more talking. Thank y'all for watching. Merry Christmas. I'm gonna see y'all on the next episode on Sunday. New videos coming soon. New podcasts coming soon. All that. Stay tuned and prepare for takeoff. Let's go.